On December 14, 2012, a gunman claimed the lives of 20 children and 6 adults when he opened fire at Sandy Hook Elementary School in Newtown, Connecticut. Since then, there's been a gun violence equivalent to nearly one mass shooting a day in the U.S., according to the Gun Violence Archive.
And my surviving son was there that day, but obviously Dylan did not survive. And for me, I felt the need to do something to prevent other parents from experiencing what I had experienced.
In response to Sandy Hook, several organizations sprang up in Newtown as parents of victims aim to combat gun violence around the country.
It took the murder of the youngest of my 3 children, my little Daniel, who was 7 years old, in his first grade classroom at Sandy Hook Elementary. He was shot to death.
Newtown is at the epicenter of a massive ripple effect that's come out of the shooting at Sandy Hook School. We already had our tragedy. Our job is to prevent it from happening elsewhere.
Hockley, Barden, and others connected to the victims of the Sandy Hook school shooting launched Sandy Hook Promise as a way to prevent future shootings by providing educational programs to students and communities around the country.
We're a little bit more educated here, I think, in Newtown in terms of what these tragedies feel like and why we don't want them to happen elsewhere. So a lot of our programs are really focused on everywhere outside of Newtown.
Although organizations like Sandy Hook Promise have received widespread support, there have been noticeable setbacks, especially in 2017, which saw some of the worst mass shootings in the history of the United States. Moms Demand Action for Gun Sense in America started as a Facebook page that launched in the wake of the Sandy Hook shooting.
I'm a mom of 5, and I was so outraged and so angry and so sad that I felt I had to do something. And what happened was so many other women and moms had the exact same idea that day. And we grew from an online conversation to an offline movement. We are not anti-gun, but we are definitely anti-NRA lobbyists. And the gun lobby has really cultivated these gun extremists. They've made them very afraid that their guns are going to be taken away. No one is trying to take anyone's guns away, but women and moms, we're afraid our children are going to be taken away.
People had already decided that I was anti-gun because my child was murdered with somebody using a gun. I know that people have inaccurate misconceptions about the work that Sandy Hook Promise does until they find out what we do. And then we find that almost unilaterally, universally, people are all in.
The question remains, what keeps these movements going in the face of obstacles, such as gun lobbies and the continuous gun violence?
Once people realize that we are not a traditional gun violence prevention organization, but we're really upstream of the problem, and we are about talking about what can we do to help someone before they ever pick up a firearm to hurt someone, you don't get any resistance.
Organizations like Sandy Hook Promise have aimed their message especially at people who feel hopeless in the face of gun violence.
It's all win-win. There's no cost, it's easy to do, and it works. At the very least, you're going to brighten somebody's day. At the very most, you're going to be saving a life.
We're having a proven impact in saving lives and reducing bullying and reducing suicide and self-harm. Let us do that for you as well.